What's going on, everyone? This is Corey with Xbox Tavern with another review. This review will be a little bit different than I normally do. It's more of a preview first look, and I say that because I didn't quite finish the game this time around. This game is called the Mobius Machine. It is a Metroidvania game at heart, which I do love my Metroidvanias, and it looks really great, really stunning visuals to this one. Now, this Metroidvania is gun focused, so no melee combat that I ever encountered, and you are exploring a planet far away in space that you have crash landed on. As one might think, you need to explore unexplored areas in order to find ways to improve your movement mechanics and traversal, and along the way you're going to be coming across many enemies of different types. Now, with almost all Metroidvania games, there's going to be different paths that you come across that you aren't able to access yet, and that's where going through the zones that you come to and exploring them will come in great benefit. Now, the thing that I didn't like about the Mobius Machine is a few things, actually. And I'm going to start with kind of how slow paced it felt. It felt like it took a lot of time in order to see really any progress, and maybe that was a couple of factors. One, I started on retro mode, so there is retro mode and standard mode, and essentially the difference is with retro mode, once you save, you are stuck at that checkpoint until you save again. So if you die, you lose everything, and that's how I started out. Standard mode, if you die, you don't lose everything per se. You have a drop where your death occurred, and you can go back there and pick up the scraps that you dropped. Also, if you've explored any part of the map, I think that it stayed there. Now, the map is another thing that is big for me in Metroidvania games, as it generally is in that category. And with this one, you don't uncover the map until you've reached a computer in a certain zone and you've kind of activated said map. At that point, wherever you're exploring will then fill in the map. So it actually makes for exploration kind of difficult and not fun upon your first arrival at that zone. There would be several times when I was in an unknown area. I've not found this computer yet that has the map, and I would be going for 30, 45 minutes and dying and having to redo wherever that last save point was, and going through this unexplored, this mystery area, essentially not really knowing where to go. There is obviously some kind of path that seems like the right way to go, but there's always going to be different areas that you can go left or right, or maybe you needed to jump down and go around that way. It was just difficult to navigate, and it could have been just the headspace I was in at the time. Maybe I just wasn't feeling the game. I actually don't feel like it's a terrible game. I feel like it has really good potential to be a good Metroidvania, but with the combination of how slow the game felt for me, the combat and the exploration part, the mapping, I just could not see myself wanting to go back to play more of it, unfortunately. Now, the last thing that I mentioned there that I haven't talked about is the combat. I did say that this is a gun-focused Metroidvania, and that is true. You are given a starting gun, and quickly some of the quote-unquote upgrades you find will be a secondary type of gun, which you can change out. This might be a long-shooting sniper-type shot or a scatter shot, but it has a really short distance. Things like that. There's no ammo to these guns. They are infinite. You just need to aim with your joystick and pull the trigger, and you're going to shoot until you decide to stop. And of course, what you're going to be shooting are aliens. These aliens will come in many different forms that either chase you, fly around, shoot things at you, maybe a combination of several of those things. And you're going to be fighting these enemies a lot. Like I said, you can leave an area, kind of come back, they're going to be there. And unfortunately, I didn't find the enemies very fun to fight. And in a game like a Metroidvania where you're traversing, especially the same areas over and over, and even when you start to expect the enemies that are there, I want to fly through them, especially on continuous attempts. And even when I went back to some areas with upgraded guns, I still felt myself having to kind of stop, aim, shoot, wait till they're dead, and then continue on. Like, I never felt that ease that came, and maybe it comes in later with more upgrades, but it took too long to get there, if that's the case for me personally. So yeah, that's kind of my first experience with the Mobius machine. It's, gun focused, kind of slower paced combat exploration for me. It kind of feels Souls-likey with the way that you die and you basically have to retrace all of your steps, which is that's typical in Metroidvania game. I'll give them that. The save points sometimes feel close, but more often than not, they feel very far away from anything of importance. So I felt I was wasting so much time with every death, and that part was not fun. And when you topple that onto this strange mapping mechanic where you have to get to a certain point before that part of the map is able to be filled out versus just filling it out as you go first time, it just wasn't jiving for me. Again, I don't put a lot of blame on the game. I think the game controls well. They definitely nail the style. Just wasn't my time for it, unfortunately. But with that, I hope you can make a decision for yourself whether the Mobius machine will be the right fit or not for you. And if you aren't on xboxtavern.com already, be sure to go there. Check out my final score for what I've played of the game and our many other reviews. And I will catch you in the next one.